This year, of course, we celebrate the 70th anniversary of, sorry, the 76th anniversary of the very historic Spitfire Mark V, and the aircraft trailing it is PZ-865, the last of the many. This was the very last of the Hurricanes that was built. Ladies and gentlemen, the BBMF. Lead pilot today is Flight Lieutenant Anthony Parkinson, who is in fact the operations officer for the Battle of Britain flight. He's leading in AD910, and after the aircraft had done a couple of flypasts together, they were split, and I will tell you about each individual aeroplane. They come round and close to you, ladies and gentlemen. Have your cameras ready. Have your recorders ready. Here you have two Merlins in formation. Engineering excellence, ladies and gentlemen. Outstanding piston. A young WAF was detailed to sit on the tailplane to provide support for the pilot. As she did so, the pilot took off and didn't even know she was on the tailplane. And in fact, he did a complete circuit and then returned her to the ground safely. And she went on to live to a ripe old age in her 80s. So this is the only Spitfire that's actually taken somebody else for a flight without planning it first. The Spitfire maiden flight took place in March 1936. And the Mark I Spitz entered in RAF service with number 19 Squadron at Duxford in 1938. Spitfire fought in every operational theatre of the war and remained in RAF frontline service up until 1954. And as I said earlier, the last of the operations Spitfires retired in June 1957. At the end of its development, Spitfire carried an engine producing more than twice the power of the original, with a maximum takeoff weight and rate of climb more than double. The Spitfire truly deserves the reputation it has of one of the major contributors to the Allied victory in World War II. Even the Americans flew Spitfires, it should be remembered, and all the Dominion forces flew them in conjunction with some foreign air forces, the Norwegian Air Force, the French Air Force, New Zealanders, the Australians, all flew Spitfires. This particular one, the Mark V, has the later reinforced wing that could take two cannon, which you can see protruding from the nose, as well as 4 machine guns. And it is marked up in the markings it wore during D-Day with the anti-invasion stripes, the black and white stripes, which were done as an aid to the Allied gunners in the Navy and the American Navy and the Canadian Navy particularly. They weren't quite so clever at recognising aeroplanes, and it was thought that by painting black and white stripes on the wings, then they'd be easier to identify. Parky, flying it today, joined the RAF at 18, has been flying ever since 18-3, and as I said, he is now the operation. Ladies and gentlemen, from your left, the Spitfire. Right, the Hurricane. The last of the many, the last of the Hurricanes to be built. And although the Spitfire has the legendary reputation that it deserves, it is a fact that in fact the Hurricane actually shot down more aeroplanes than all other RAF fighters put together. the Hurricane did a sterling service in Burma, the Forgotten Theatre, where Hurricanes were used not only as fighters but as fighter bombers. The Hurricanes are used in the Western Desert with big 20mm cannons underneath. This one is fitted with 4 cannons. It was the last Hurricane, and it came off the production line in September 1945. Townsend, who was in fact engaged to Princess Margaret at one time. After its term in service, Hawkers, or as Bristol Siddeley it became in that time, handed the aircraft over to the Battle of Britain flight, and it joined LF-363, one of the founder Hurricanes with the flight, to be a mainstay of the flight. Also, a little known service of the Hurricane is that the Hurricanes were used off aircraft carriers, and they were used off cam ships, catapult-armed merchantmen. These were ships that had a catapult fitted at the front, and they were designed to take out the Condor aircraft that they were using, the Germans are using to spot for the submarines in the Atlantic. Camship Hurricanes were loaded onto the aircraft, the ship at Liverpool, and then flown out on the ship until they were required at sea. They then went to deploy, shoot down or deter the Condor aircraft, and then the pilot had no other option but to ditch the aircraft near to the closest destroyer he could and hopefully have his life saved. They were very, very brave men. Camship fighter pilots in their Hurricane. In fact, a few years ago I met one of them, and he told me a wonderful story. The Battle of Britain. I mentioned in the commentary about the Ready, ladies and gentlemen, the Spitfire and the Hurricane.